Since 1984, North Shore Food Bank has been a cornerstone of downtown Covington, proudly serving all of St. Tammany Parish. Each week, we provide essential supplemental food resources to more than 350 households and partner organizations to support the most vulnerable in our community. Directly addressing food insecurity through a number of different programs, North Shore Food Bank specifically delivers weekend food bags to 8 different public elementary schools and also to operate student choice pantries in 3 public high schools for those experiencing homelessness. Join the fight. Visit northshorefoodbank.org to learn how. Lane Kiffin picking up steam in the transfer portal, part 2, up next on the Hannycast.
The Hannycast, a weekly LSU football film study with Charles Hannegriff and former LSU tight end Richard Dickson. Now to break down the Tiger tape, here's Charles and Richard.
I'm Charles Hannegriff along with former Tiger Richard Dickson. Richard, last week we got through the first 11 players that they got in the transfer portal. They picked up steam in the second week of this, including 2 quarterbacks, and the headliner, of course, is Sam Leavitt, late of Arizona State, comes in and figures to be QB1 for LSU.
I mean, you know, they've really had to learn how to stretch out your entertainment. Thought the football season was over. We stressed over recruiting week and signing day, had that fun. I think this has been a little bit more interesting than signing day.
We used to do recruiting all through the month of January before the signing day in February. Now this is more transfer portal stuff. So there's a lot of kids we're going to get to today. They're up to 29. We're up through 28 on this podcast, what we got allotted for. Some of the kids we've got a lot of film on. Some of them we don't have any. I'm a good searcher, but kids that haven't played at all in college, because they redshirted last year or played just a little bit on the offensive line or came from junior colleges, smaller player, we just don't have film on some of these guys. We're going to tell you a little bit about all of them, and we're going to show you film on the ones that we've got. So let's get going here. We're going to start off with Malik Blockton, defensive tackle from Auburn, 6'3", 300 pounds, played 24 games at Auburn with 10 starts. 12 games and 8 starts last year, 34 career tackles at Auburn, 8.5 tackles for losses, and 2 sacks. This is a guy, we're going to see him, number 47 on the left side of your screen, comes up. This is a half a sack that he got in the Iron Bowl. You're going to be able to see him use the leverage. He's not
uses his hands well, gets underneath, he rips, plays a little bit high right there, but I mean, he's a guy that fought.
He at 6'3", 300, we look at him as a rotation piece. You need a lot of defensive linemen, and so there's some pass rush there to his game. 8.5 tackles for losses. Yeah. He gets up the field. Malik Blockton from Auburn.
We're going to need those older guys to come in because, look, we're really excited about signing possibly the best D-line class ever. But you got a lot of true freshmen. You need to get some older guys in there to give these guys time to adjust.
And I don't know the best defensive line class ever. I would settle for 8 guys who can give me SEC reps. This guy gave Auburn SEC reps. That was a very good Auburn defense last year. The offense was a mess, but I'm looking for guys that can give me SEC reps. This guy for 24 games at Auburn gave SEC reps. So glad to have him. I don't expect him to be a superstar. I expect him to be a guy that can give you SEC
We
reps.
just need pieces in there to, allow rotation.
Second guy we're going to talk about is another guy that's SEC snaps, now not a lot. Jalen Brown, 6'5", 265 pounds. The freshman year at Missouri played 39 snaps in 5 games. And then last year he went to South Carolina, got injured in the spring, and missed the whole deal. So we're going to show you a little bit of high school film on him since he's only played 39 snaps in college. So you see a little bit of here from his senior in high school, which was 3 seasons ago.
Yeah, I mean, explosive, comes off the edge. Definitely high school tape because you got no contain on a guy rushing on the inside. But when you're that athletic in the high school level and you can get to the quarterback that fast, you kind of alleviate the stress of going on the outside. I tried to
keep most of the high school film out of this, but this is what we could find on this guy, so I just want you to get a good look at him. We know that with the coaches that they've got coming in, that they've seen him.
Yeah.
Okay. Your defensive line is coaches coming from South Carolina, so you've got an opportunity to lay eyes on him. maybe he would have played a lot at South Carolina last year.
He's a South Carolina guy that transferred from Missouri. So you got Kevin Peoples, who recruited him once. You got the South Carolina coaches who recruited him twice. There's guys that have a lot of belief in him.
That's why I got you here. I'd forgotten about the People's edge of this. We're brought to you by the Capital Area USSSA baseball affiliates. Events for all skill levels. Rec All-Star divisions along with AA, AAA, and Major League state and national events. Exciting events lined up for this spring. For more information, contact Lane Petrie at 225-771-9095, 225-771-9095. And also by China, located in the heart of downtown Hammond, upscale Italian restaurant serving traditional dishes in contemporary fashion. Inspired by an abundance of fresh local produce and the ways of old, China creating a unique dining experience. Their goal is to use local ingredients and delicious recipes to create an exceptional dining experience and a fresh, inclusive atmosphere that can be enjoyed by anyone. China, located in the heart of downtown Hammond. All right, now I'm going to give you some names and a little bit of information on some of these guys, but we simply we're not able to get any film on offensive lineman Jaquan Sprinkle. 6'3", 295 pounds, out of North Carolina Central. I looked. I gave it a shot, but was not able to get any film on him, nor on offensive lineman Jacoby Jones, 6'5", 300 pounds, out of Copiah Lincoln Community College in Mississippi. You know certainly a little bit about that. He's a Louisiana kid from Manny High School. Spent 2 years in the JUCO. They won the South Division title in 2025. He was part of a state championship team at Manny, so you know a little bit about the junior college competition in Mississippi.
There's no shortage of talent in the junior college levels in Mississippi. Typically, it's a lot of guys who had great issues getting ready to go into the next level. But there's a hell of a lot of talent produced out there. I mean, I was listening to Hunt earlier it might have been today, and he was talking about people's fear of getting offensive linemen from these smaller schools and schools that haven't played. But then he started breaking down like the Saints roster and some NFL rosters, and you break down those offensive lines that are a lot of kids that came from similar schools. It's all about trusting the guys who are evaluating the talent.
I'm just going to throw this out there. Almost all of the LSU offensive linemen that transferred out went to big schools.
Yeah.
Okay. LSU's pulling some of these guys from smaller schools. You got to trust the talent evaluation.
Yep.
When they asked about the quarterback from Elon, we're going to get to in a little bit. It was, well, last year you got a guy from Ferris State, and it worked out pretty good. This is about trusting the coaches. Let's move on. This next player is Jordan Ross, an edge rusher from Tennessee, 6'5", 245 pounds. 2 years at Tennessee. First year he played mostly special teams. As a sophomore, 23 tackles, 3.5 for loss, 1.5 sacks for Jordan Ross.
Play with violent hands right there. Tall, lanky, good speed guy. Listening to the morning show, I know this was Hester's favorite ad of the portal so far. So, I mean, it's
this is a sequence that we're going to show you a little bit more of this from the Music City Bowl, where he made plays on back-to-back. You let it run there a little bit, Alondra. There was a second play that he makes right there before the end of that clip. This is against Illinois. He is number 29. There you see him getting up the field a little bit. Again, not a ton of film on him making some of these games. Some of these tackles for losses came in some of the smaller games. So
yeah, but, you
get a look at him.
He's a true freshman that you're talking about. You got two coaches in line, like we talked about before. More than likely was offered by Missouri. More than likely was offered by South Carolina. Guys who've evaluated him out of high school, and they know the ceiling he has.
I'm going to ask you this question. We talked about this a little bit before we started. He has 9 wide receivers signed in his class. Okay. There were only a couple left over after he got here that were not going to transfer out. And everybody's asking me, does he need 9 wide receivers? I've been saying you need that many to get through a Lane Kiffin practice. Sounds better coming from you because you've been through practices like this. You know what we're talking about here. Why do you need that many guys?
You need them to get through spring. I mean, the easiest way for me to explain it, everybody here is NFL come camp time. We need camp arms and camp legs. We need guys that can go out there because you don't want to burn out your guys you're going to rely on in the season. When you're running 140 plays of practice, 160 plays of practice, you don't want to put the mileage on the guys that you're going to rely on Saturdays. So there's guys that need to be out there, give the second team reps, give defense reps, and then you got to have the guys that are running with the offense.
Let's take a look at Malik Elzy, Malik Elzy, wide receiver from Illinois, 6'2", 215 pounds, was a redshirt junior, 3 years at Illinois, 16 catches, 213 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He only played 4 games last year due to injury, caught 7 passes for 84 yards. We're going to show you a couple of those right here. This is a very nice catch, actually, in toward the boundary.
It sticks with the theme. He wants tall, fast guys that are hitting passes down the field.
Little handsy.
Well, handsy, it's one I'd like to see him go high point the ball, but the concentration level was there, stayed with it through the ground.
And that's somebody else besides Malik Elzy. But we saw the touchdown catch. And listen, again, he missed most of last season. He's going to be a fourth-year guy. I'm not telling you which one of these guys are going to be the stars and which ones are going to be the backups. I'll let the staff sort that out. But there's a lot of guys. Another one that we were not able to get much video on was Josh Jackson from McNeese, 6'2", 205 pounds, out of McNeese. He started his career at UAB. St. Aug kid, 12 games at UAB, 20 catches for 258 yards before he transferred over to McNeese. Another player that we were able to get, I think, a little bit of video on was Traylon James, safety from Southern, 6'3", 190 pounds. And we were able to get just a little bit. He was at Madison Prep, so he's a local kid, redshirt junior. And you're going to see him spotlighted on, again, this is some high school stuff from Madison Prep. You'll see him come here and close on this ball.
So I still like the theme that, it kind of started with the Brian Kelly area, but I like it as far as the transfer portal. Seems like we're going to get a lot of kids with some Louisiana ties.
This is going to get better, by the way. We've got some of these kids. I'm serious. There's just not a whole lot of film available on them. They didn't play a whole lot, or they played at places where we just don't have film available to us. I promise you. We're going to ramp that up here a little bit as the podcast goes on. We're brought to you by Bayou Apparel. If you're looking for anything LSU, go to Everything LSU, made by locals and shipping from Baton Rouge, the highest quality products to showcase your brand, established or new. Bayou Apparel design experts can help you create eye-catching designs that fit your company's message. Call 928-9090, 225-928-9090, or go to everythinglsu.com. Another player that just simply didn't play a whole lot last year, but has a lot of upward potential, offensive lineman William Satterwhite from Tennessee, 6'3", 305 pounds. Played in 3 games in 2024, redshirted 7 games as a backup last year. Rich, when we talk about guys that are Southeastern Conference recruits, we're swapping a lot of them.
Yeah.
Guys that are going out to other SEC schools, guys that were at other SEC schools like him, and Darren Stray, who we're going to talk about a little bit. I'll go ahead and throw his name out there right now, 6'7", and 305 pounds at Kentucky. Your offensive line coach has been at Kentucky, so they put eyes on these kids, but I don't have a film because Stray played in 4 games as a redshirt last year. Eric Wolford, the offensive line coach, coached him last year. So that's somebody you're bringing over that you know a little bit about. This gives you a little bit more in the offensive line numbers.
And you get a guy like Satterwhite, we just talked about. He's a guy that committed to Tennessee. I'm assumed he was recruited by Kentucky as well. Guys that have seen him coming through high school. And to your point, you see a lot of these SEC guys swapping. Like the guys we've lost, I think we talked 4 or 5 of them all gone to SEC schools or Power 4 schools. At one point, does it become to, everybody's looking for a new deal? What we saw when they were here, are they worth the money that other schools are giving them, and vice versa with the kids we're going after?
A couple other kids that we're not able to get any video on. Tyree Holloway, wide receiver, 6 foot, 180 pounds from West Florida. 2024, he played in 3 games for them. 2025, 34 catches for 661 yards, 19.4 yards per catch for Tyree Holloway from West Florida. Achilles Woods, great name, by the way. Edge rusher from South Alabama, 6'3", 289 pounds. Redshirt in 2024. In 2025, he had 11 tackles and 1 sack. And one more, wide receiver Roman Mothershed, another great name, 6'4", 208 pounds, out of Troy. Redshirt junior. 25 catches, 259 yards, and a touchdown. He had a big game against Memphis, 8 catches for 58 yards in that one. So now I can get to the guys that we do have film on, and we're going to start with Winston Watkins, 6'3", and 6'2", 185 pounds from Ole Miss. Now
I like this guy.
Okay, now we're talking about somebody that we're talking about. You can see this. This was against LSU.
So just from watching the little bit of film I've seen on this guy, he reminds me a lot of Aaron Anderson. Runs through the slot very well, catches the ball over the middle, makes guys miss, gets open across the middle, settles down in slots. Guy hustles his butt off just from these highlight tapes. This is a guy that I'm very excited about. We heard his name early on. Everybody talked about him, saying that he's definitely going with Lane. I saw the interview. I can't remember which interview it was, but he called Lane Kiffin like a wide receiver god, basically. Like he just does amazing things with him. Look to see a lot of this kid.
26 catches last year for 373 yards and a touchdown. Against LSU, he had a huge game, 4 catches for 111 yards. Against Oklahoma, had 4 catches for 111 yards. You can see some of that, as a matter of fact, right now. You see the over-the-shoulder catch.
Late with his hands, stabs, catches well. Out of all the receivers I've watched, a lot of them have done good things. He's the one I'm probably the most excited about.
See a little bit more here. This was against the Citadel. We'll finish up his tape with a couple of plays here. Kind of going head over.
He's a slot guy that they're going to use against the middle of the field.
All right, Winston Watkins from Ole Miss. We're brought to you by Town Square Pizza. Delicious, personalized pizza with unmatched speed, downtown Baton Rouge. Pickup or delivery. Catering available. Open Monday through Saturday from 11 until 8 on North Boulevard. If you got a limited amount of time for lunch, get to Town Square Pizza. You're going to get a delicious, personalized pizza, and you're going to be able to get back to work in a reasonable amount of time and very generous portions. You're probably going to end up taking some home. Town Square Pizza, downtown Baton Rouge, facing what else? Town Square. And also by Dependable Storage, 8 locations across Louisiana, 1 in Gulfport, Mississippi. They'll match any competitor's pricing with convenient online rentals and payments. Free use of the moving truck for new rental move-ins. Clean, secure, and conveniently located. Check out the website at dependablestorage.com for location pricing and rentals. As Skip Bertman always says, at Dependable Storage, we want your stuff. All right. Now let's get to the quarterbacks. This is probably what you've been waiting for. We'll start with Landon Clark, 6 foot, 186 pounds out of Elon. Threw for in his sophomore season, 12 starts, 2,321 yards, 18 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. Let's take a look at him. Certainly fits the mold of a dual threat quarterback.
Very quick release. It's nice when you watch quarterbacks and the defense have to respect the RPO. He's very quick. He's feisty. The only thing that I think that he can benefit from some good coaching is and I'm not a quarterback expert. I'd talk to Flynn on this for anybody. His arm slot seems really low to me, but it doesn't affect him. I mean, I've seen this guy throw 65, 70-yard passes, get it down the field. He's quick, but he's a guy that's definitely electric.
At this point, if LSU went out to practice, he'd be the one healthy quarterback they've got to go back there. So I would imagine whether they sign a third quarterback or not, we're going to see a lot of him in the spring because Sam Leavitt is going to be limited in what he can do. Really, it's probably not going to be able to practice much at all. He'll be able to do some walkthrough stuff maybe, but I don't expect him to be able to run very much of anything at full speed. I'm not a doctor, but that's what we're hearing. So you're going to see an awful lot. We're going to see an awful lot of this young man in the spring. That's a nice throw over the middle.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he's got 3 years to play.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think they do a great job. I wouldn't have done it any different. You're going to go out and get a guy with 1 year. He's a hell of a guy to get on your roster to say, hey, look, come here, learn it for a year. Shoot, he might beat out the guy. You never know. But getting him in early and allowing to acclimate to the offense, he looks like he's got a lot of tools.
I mean, he may have to play. we're counting on Leavitt to be the quarterback one. He's got a pretty serious foot injury that he's rehabbing from. We think he can make a full recovery, but you're one play away. Last year, Trinidad Chambliss was thrust into a situation where they probably didn't think he was going to play an awful lot, and he ended up in the semifinals of the CFB college football playoffs.
I'll tell you what
That's a nice throw.
What I like the most about it is the quarterbacks are very similar. They're guys that can move, guys that are electric, can run, throw off the run, play down the field. This is a 70-yard pass. I mean, or 60. The dude's got a nice arm, but it's also he's bringing in quarterbacks of similar talent. It's stuff that, between Michael Van Buren, Colin Hurley, and Garrett Nussmeier, all of them were very different. These are all guys that can fit in and play the similar style of football.
I couldn't agree with you more. One of the things that was frustrating going back many years was Jarrett Lee and Jordan Jefferson were two quarterbacks that they should have never been on the same team, regardless of what the team was. They were so different in what
Matt
they
Flynn and
they
Ryan
did.
Perrilloux. I mean, we were doing it for so long to where our offense was built off of more of a two-quarterback system. Well, this is where you're going out getting guys that can do the same things, run the same offense, don't miss a beat, and they're all very similar play styles.
Everybody's going to do everybody's doing the same thing. You don't have to change a whole lot if one quarterback goes down. You're not changing what you do offensively. That's about a 45, 50-yard throw there. He was at the back of the end zone there. That was a 98-yarder. From the backyard shed to the top of the game, more than just a baseball bat company, Marucci, a legacy built in passion and precision. 2 decades of crafting the finest wood, metal, and leather in the sport. We're here to help you grow the game at MarucciSports.com. And don't forget the Hitter's House, 5801 Segan Lane, and now on Airline Drive in Metairie at 1801 Airline Drive in Metairie. Members have 24/7 access to the members-only cages, bullpen cage reservation opportunities, and a 15% rental store discount. Check them out at MarucciSports.com. So here's the headliner, Sam Leavitt. Depending on what rankings you look at, number 1, number 2, number 3 in the transfer portal among all players, not just quarterbacks. 6'2", 205 pounds from Arizona State. As a freshman at Michigan State, 15 of 23, 139 yards, and a couple of touchdowns. He also ran for 67 yards. Redshirt freshman year at Arizona State, completed 61.7% of his passes, 2,885 yards, 24 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 110 carries, 443 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Arizona State gave Texas all they wanted in the college football playoffs, and Leavitt was a big source of that. By the way, these highlights you're looking at are split between 2024 and 2025. In 2025, he played on only 7 games, 61% completion percentage, 1,628 yards, 10 touchdowns, 3 picks, 73 carries for 306 yards, and 5 touchdowns. You may take it from here.
Yeah, well, look, I watched these right before I came in. He's a hell of an athlete. I think, his just from watching, I see like the gamer in him, the mindset, lay it all on the line. I think throughout this entire highlight reel, he doesn't slide one time, which coaches might get a little bit nervous about. But this guy's leaving it all out there. He's trying to get every yard, every inch, trying to make the big plays. He's electric. I think that his style of play is very similar to what we just talked about to the guy from Elon. He's a little bit bigger, got a good bit more experience. But, man, everything you watch on this highlight film is he's going out there putting the balls in great spots, great throws. And then what I love is when things break down here in the red zone, he has the ability to run.
That never sliding thing, quarterbacks eventually will get out of that habit. It's just a matter of when.
Usually it's once you get to the NFL and they start trying to take money away from you.
They promise you. And and for him to come back off of this Linsfrack injury, talk to me about, you've had every injury.
Except for this one.
Okay.
But you might be able to help me out with this one because Matt Malk had it the year before he won the national championship, right?
Yeah, he did. It was on a draw play at Florida when he shouldn't have been running. LSU was up by 4 scores at the time.
And what about time of the season was that in? Similar mid-season, early season?
It was in mid-October. LSU had 6 games left after that. And at the time, they were 5-1.
He was in
Leavitt,
the 6th,
Leavitt
7th
probably
game?
a week, maybe 2 later.
Okay.
He had this surgery on this lens frac on Halloween. So it's an easy day to remember. Mark had this in 2002. So I'm just guessing they've made some advances.
Yeah, I would say ACLs back then used to take 9 months to a year to come back from, and by the time I tore my first ACL, I was back in 6 months.
This is going to keep him from doing any full contact stuff in spring. Derek Stingley also had this injury, came back quicker.
Yeah.
Okay. If we want to do something a little bit more recently. Rich, I think that he will be able to get in here in the spring semester and learn Lane Kiffin's playbook. He's not going to be able to participate in spring at full speed, not going to be able to have contact. I don't know how much of the walkthrough or extended walkthroughs he'll be able to do. But I do know that he can get in here and learn the playbook. Everybody that talks about him talks about this is a high football IQ kid. So he's going to be able to learn that stuff. And then, of course, you got the simulator, the simulator helmet that he'll be able to work with as well.
He's going to need a big summer. I mean,
that's what I'm concerned about, and I know you're a big believer in that. That's when he's got to get out and work with this bevy of receivers that he doesn't know very well.
You build all your timing, your camaraderie, your chemistry in the summer. I mean, we always talk about 2019, the summer, 10,000 reps, and that's where all the championship teams that I know of were built in the summer. So when I look at this and everybody's worried about not making spring, I'm good with it. You can spend all spring in the simulator, learning the offense, watching the film, making it second nature mentally, and then go out there and get your reps in the summer and be ready to play. I mean, Joe Burrow had a pretty solid first year, and he didn't get here till June.
He didn't. And, I think all of that is workable. I'm just concerned, is the thing going to heal properly? And I've got every bit of confidence that he's gotten the best medical attention.
I was about to say, the numbers are out there between $5 and $6 million. If you're willing to spend that money, I'm guessing they've had their own doctors look at it.
Yeah.
They've talked to the specialists. Everybody, they've put their evaluations on every x-ray they could get from them, and they got a plan going forward.
This is in the playoff game against Texas last year. There's your old friend Scattaboo. Yeah.
That's coming back. He pushed off like a son of a gun.
Right. This is the game this year against Texas Tech, which was Arizona State's biggest win of the year. This was Texas Tech's only loss in the regular season. And honestly, I think this is probably where he got hurt or maybe the injury worsened a little bit. Texas Tech was great this year. Right up till the end, they ran into a good Oregon team. But Arizona State was the only team to beat them in the regular season. In that game, Leavitt was 28 of 47 for 319 yards, didn't throw a pick, and he carried 12 times in that game. He was sacked 4 times. It was a physical game. If you watch Texas Tech play this year, it was a very, very physical game, and Leavitt toughed it through that, put together the game-winning drive. They ended up winning that game by 4, and it was the only, like I said, it was the only game Texas Tech lost in the regular season the whole year.
This is just why I love a mobile quarterback. You've seen 3 plays back-to-back where nobody's open. You can scramble and get something. And he's a great athlete.
This is the Texas Tech game again. That one hung up there a long time, but he had a guy open. This is another very good game for Arizona State this year against TCU. They won this game 27-24 late. He threw for 291 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and he ran for 62 yards and a touchdown against TCU. TCU was ranked in the top 25 at the time of that victory. So they were 5-2 in the 7 games that he played this year. They spent a lot of money. They recruited him very hard. He went to Kentucky. He went to Miami. He went to Tennessee. Lane Kiffin followed him to Knoxville.
I think that's my favorite part of this whole deal. I don't know too many coaches
that's part of the story, right?
That you would spend 3 days on. He leaves to go visit another school, and you're like, no, I'm not done. I'll come meet you up there, and we'll have that conversation again.
I can only imagine. His brother represents him as his lawyer agent. I can only imagine what the dialogue is like for a guy that is just highly pursued over this breakneck 2-week period. He looked at 4 schools that I'm just guessing the money was all significant at all of it.
My guess is he looked at every school. He had 4 schools that the money was similar.
There's a floor in the money just to get him to come and visit. So he's got 2 years of eligibility left. I don't plan anything past 1 year.
No.
You get a year out of him, it's a great year, fantastic, and he moves on. If you get 2 years, all the better. But a lot of time is going to be spent talking about what Sam Leavitt can do with Lane Kiffin. And if this kid's healthy, if the foot heals, we believe that the foot will heal, then it could be really exciting for what he can bring.
And it doesn't sound like we're done with quarterbacks. We got another one coming in on a visit.
I don't think you go into the season with 2 scholarship quarterbacks. I think you probably go find a third, and we'll see who that is. They're bringing in 2 other. They brought in another kid, Husan Longstreet from USC, who was a true freshman last year, a 5-star kid. My guess is he wants to start because he sat last year, but I don't know. And then Ryan Straub from Colorado, who's a little bit older. We'll see. They've got some time left. Remember that this Friday, we're doing this, I should tell you in case you're watching it later, on Tuesday, January the 13th. So if you're watching this much later and saying, well, they already got another guy, but today we're forced to kind of speculate.
The portal
closes in 3 days.
In 3 days.
But you can sign kids. That's just to put yourself in the portal.
Just to put yourself in the portal.
Yeah,
okay.
And that's important distinction. I'm glad you brought it up. You can sign kids later, okay?
Yeah.
Now, LSU started school yesterday. There's a late registration towards the end of the month, but you'd like to have them in here for spring practice. Doesn't mean you can't, but you'd like to have them in here for spring practice.
Very awkward to make this decision in a month and a half and then have to finish out going to school that's mad at you.
Well, how about if you put yourself in the transfer portal, made a big ruckus, and then took yourself out?
Yeah.
That's happened too.
I've seen that a few times.
Yeah, that's happened too to other guys that LSU has pursued. Okay. We'll be back next week with whatever is left of the portal. And then before we let Richard go for the season and transition over into baseball, we'll do a deep dive into the roster when we think it will be set here before the end of January. For Richard Dickson, I'm Charles Hannigrove. This has been the Hannycast.